You read the Bible page again. Seconds swift were wisely spent, searching everywhere we went. Seconds swift were wisely spent, searching everywhere we went. The shrouded ghoul looks very frightening. His hands are little more than claws, and his face is nearly completely hidden inside the hood of the shroud. He is standing in a small boat.
Boatman, I need passage. I said...
I heard.
The ghoul's voice chills you to the bone. It speaks with a deep, resonating bitterness. You cannot make out a great deal of its face, but what you can see has the hairs on the back of your neck standing on end.
In life, I would row this boat for the master. Long ago was my untimely death in these waters, but still, I remember many things. Laughter, tears, joy, pain.
May I cross, Sir Boatman?
You have come to raid the master's house. This I know, but care not about. You should be warned, though. The master is not what he once was. Never has this land known a kinder, more compassionate, and nobler ruler than he. But his fate has long since been decided. Down a dark path he now treads, and he feels naught for anyone, nor anything, save for one other. And even that is a rare trait for a Nosferatu.
You freeze. Neither the Door of Destiny nor Neptune mention this count as being undead.
If I may ask, Sir Boatman, how did the swamp come to be here? Is it natural?
No, the ground you stand upon was once farming land and dwellings for the peasantry.
How did it come to be like this?
A score of years passed after the master died, and a great morass opened up, covering the surrounding land with slime and poisoned water. Once rich and fertile, now it is no longer.
The Count has caused this?
It is believed so, for why else would his own castle be spared?
Ah, thank you, Sir Boatman.
The boatman has nothing more to say. The boatman accepts your payment and motions for you to climb into the boat. The shrouded ghoul paddles across the toxic lake to the shore on the other side. The thorns and brambles are sharp. Thick mist hangs around the shore of the island as if forming a border beyond, into which only the foolish would venture. This area is cold and ominous. Up ahead, dark towers rise from a sinister castle. The path leading up to the entrance is lined with deadly thorns and thick brambles. Gnarled, twisted trees seem to reach out to anyone foolish enough to walk too close. Then again, maybe it's just your imagination. After swallowing the magic sugar cube, you get a feeling of invincibility. The sharp thorns brush against your skin. However, instead of feeling intense pain, you only experience a slight tingling sensation. Evidently, the magic sugar cube did its job. The mist has cleared a distance around the main entrance. Whether that be coincidence or magical influence, you can only surmise. The ghosts waver, as if being threatened by even the slightest breeze, yet something holds them in place. It may be nothing more than an intensely strong determination or sense of purpose that keeps the spirits anchored to this world. When you speak to the ghosts, they utter a mournful wail. As you approach the ghosts wearing the black cloak, they seem to notice you, and then begin to drift away towards the cemetery. As you reach to push the massive doors open, you realize there are no handles. The only thing visible is a small keyhole, which slightly resembles a cross. Having an idea, you push the crucifix into the cross-shaped keyhole. It fits. You hear a click, and the door unlocks. You push the heavy wooden door open, take a deep breath, and step nervously inside the castle entrance. The moment you enter the great hall of the castle, you begin shivering uncontrollably, and not just from the cold. This place has an air of death wherever you go. As if creeping around this huge castle was not enough, knowing full well that an undead creature resides here would unnerve even the most stout-hearted of adventurers, you feel desperate to get what you came for and anxious to leave as quickly as possible. The portraits on the wall depict the couple who once lived here. They look young and proud. Behind the mask of apathy that comes with aristocracy, there's a certain kindness in their eyes. The fireplace looks as if it has not been used in quite a long time. You shudder, both from the cold and from the thought that the resident likely has no need of a warm house. You admire the twin chandeliers. You decide that you simply must have replicas made for your own throne room someday. Narrow stairs ascend into a room above. There's little light here to see by. You take the shovel into your possession. You hold your candle up to the blazing torch. It catches. Your candle is now lit. This is evidently the dining room of the old castle. It is still as drafty here as it is everywhere else, so you imagine yourself declining an opportunity to dine in this room. The northern arch opens into a room beyond. You cannot discern any details, though. This is just a small storage room. Rows of red wine barrels are neatly stacked and piled along the wall. At least you think they contain wine. Seeing nothing else of real importance, you head back into the dining room. A foul stench wafts up from the gloomy darkness into which the stairs descend. The staircase beyond is very dark. Fortunately, your candle provides just enough light to see where you are going. You remove the black cloak again. The lid of the beautifully carved coffin is closed. There is a beautiful ornate coffin to one side of this eerie room. Dust is everywhere, cobwebs fill the corners, and a sickly odor permeates the air. Nervously, you lift the heavy lid of the elegant coffin. You peek into its red satin interior. The coffin is unoccupied, and you feel relief wash over you. As you prepare to look inside the coffin,
King Graham, I presume.
you turn on your heel. There, blocking the only exit from this dismal room, stands the Count. His skin is pale, his eyes jet black. He wears a black cloak nearly identical to the one that you possess.
You know me?
Ah, yes indeed. Sister Hagatha alerted me to your arrival, dear king.
Desperate to stall for time, you query the Count.
Sister Hagatha, you say? Who is she?
The Count regards you with a suspicious glare.
Though I suspect you already know the answer, Hagatha is a charming mage who does as she pleases in this land.
Strange. I was not aware a new ruler had been elected.
Do not be foolish. Hagatha has no interest in the politics of this wretched place, nor do I in point of fact. Death tends to diminish one's taste for power. No, at present, she is interested only in one thing, as am I, your destruction.
The Count no longer appears interested in humoring your delay tactics. In an instant, you are flat against the wall. The Count has you pinned so well you can't move a muscle, much less put up a defense. You can feel the Count's iron-cold hand on your throat. You have barely seconds before the inevitable happens. With difficulty, you manage to loosen the ruby ring from your finger and drop it to the floor. The Count's eyes dart to it quickly, then flash angrily back to you.
Where did you get that?
The elderly woman who lives in a house to the south of here, near the beach. She gave it to me for helping her.
The Count regards you for a moment. His dark eyes bore unendingly into yours, and you feel as if your very soul is bare.
What do you know of her?
She is not well.
I know! Do you think I am not aware of that?
You are sweating profusely. Hopefully this vampire doesn't find the odor appetizing.
Night is the most dangerous of times for my mortal family. I have kept constant vigil over my wife for many years, so that from the darkness, no harm would come to her. When her time comes, we will be together. Forever.
I think tonight will be the night. I have seen her this very eve. I did what I could to help her, but I do not think it was enough.
As you watch the giant bat fly out of the room, you realize with dread that the Count has confiscated your crucifix. Without it, you are trapped in this castle. Now what are you going to do? You peer into the ornate coffin. Finding it unoccupied, you see that the interior is lined with shiny red satin. At long last, you have located the final gem, the Death Gem. You breathe deeply, reach out, and take the stone in your hands. It is ice cold to the touch, but you don't care. This is the last thing you need to unlock the door of destiny. Now all you have to do is get out of here. You peer in. There is nothing else to be found inside the coffin. Unnaturally pale light illuminates a small area of this tower. The window looks out onto the island far below. Through it, you see that the bricks of the castle might provide some footholds if you are inclined to go climbing. Seeing no other possible escape route, you climb onto the ledge and carefully lower yourself outside, hoping to find a decent foothold. It is a long way down. Suddenly, you hear a swishing noise in your ear. It's joined by two others. You instinctively try to brush whatever it is away, but in doing so, lose your hold on the bricks and fall backwards. Time slows as you fall, and your world turns black.
Our guest has awoken, my love.
Ah, good evening, dear king. I do not believe we have been properly introduced. I am Count Calador, former lord of the realm of Colima. May I present my wife, Countess Lavidia.
A pleasure to see you again.
In gratitude to you for alerting me to my wife's grave condition, I took the liberty of preparing you a dish. I thought you might be hungry after your harrowing adventure at my window. You will forgive us if we do not join you. Our tastes differ from yours, do they not, my darling?
You shudder to think what different tastes actually means, but for some reason you note that you can no longer hear any rats squeaking in the distance.
Indeed, so much to become accustomed to.
You shall have all the time that the world has to share to grow accustomed to such things. Well, perhaps 30 years. Should the father locate the item by then, there might not be enough world left for anyone afterwards.
Has this father to do with why you frequently went abroad, always with that cloak of yours?
Most certainly. But I think that my affiliation with him and his association has come to a close. My obligations to them took me away from my beloved too often. I do not wish to repeat that mistake.
You are forgiven, my love.
Their attention, which seemed to have wavered momentarily, now redirects back to you.
Well, well, well. What to do with this one?
What were you going to do with him?
Kill him. I had quite clear instructions from Hagatha, who had apparently received them from the father himself.
But if you are not, as you say, affiliated with his association anymore...
They both share a knowing smile.
Tell us, King Graham, why are you here in Colima?
You take a deep breath, trying to ignore the fact that you are the only one capable of doing so, and relate your story of the vision in the magic mirror and your quest to find the 3 gems of nature. The Count and Countess exchange cryptic smiles.
Romancing the stones.
Indeed.
Obviously, that was a private joke, as you did not understand it.
So you search for the one with which you would share the rest of your life. On that I cannot fault you, nor on your intentions here. Therefore, I can forgive the trespassing. However, there is the matter of the dark gem you wish to remove from my castle. I place a deal before you. I am looking for a magnificent sapphire-encrusted tiara. It is a valuable family heirloom and has been on this estate for centuries. This castle and its estate are old, though. It could be virtually anywhere, in any number of hiding places. I suspect there are many that even I am not aware of. I wish to present this tiara to my wife as a gift to commemorate the eternity we shall spend together. If you can find it and bring it to me before sunrise, then I will give you the gem you seek and your freedom.
You nod, unable to believe that you have virtually been ushered away from death's door just so you can run an errand for a couple of vampires. You do not want to think about the consequences if you fail to meet the deadline.
Pardon my asking, but as the Countess of this realm, I presume you have lived in this castle before now?
Yes, that is so.
Then how did you come to live in that old house by the sea?
After my husband died, I continued to live in the castle for a time. I watched my newborn son grow into a man, marry and have a child of his own.
Possum.
Yes. Shortly after her birth, however, my son and his wife both befell a tragic end at the hands of...
The Countess looks pained. and appears unable to continue.
I apologize if I have caused you to relive your grief.
A vampire cannot truly feel grief, but perhaps my wife still recalls hers. I shall continue for her, if you so wish.
Please, if I may know, how were your son and daughter-in-law lost to you?
They were slain by the Brotherhood.
The Brotherhood?
You have met them at the church.
Your mind reels, so that is the connection.
Why would the Brotherhood kill your heirs? Oh.
As you have just guessed, the Brotherhood wish an end to the reign of my family. Why else would they give you the means to penetrate my domain, so that you could do their dirty work for them?
The Cross Key.
Exactly. Stolen from me through stealth, and their own brand of magic. The Counts of Colima have all descended from a single bloodline. We have always been partial to change, as opposed to the stagnating status quo of the Brotherhood. Over the last few decades, the Brotherhood have tried to dispose of my family as best they could. That which I am now was brought about by them. They were the ones who set the monstrous, infected bat upon me. Long have I cursed my ineptitude. I should have used magic to defend myself.
Do not be so hard on yourself, my dear. I remember that night well. That hideous creature gave you no chance.
Perhaps. But I should have awoken from my dark sleep sooner. Then I would have been able to protect our beloved son and his wife, and you would not have been forced to flee the castle, to live out your days in that wretched old house, under a false identity.
It was not so bad a time. Dear little possum loved it. I hope she will be as happy in her new home. She has a new life now, with no reason to fear any more.
This Brotherhood. Are they real monks?
They were once, but something happened to them. Local folklore would have you believe that Weirwood Forest is a host to certain entities, spirits of the wild they are called.
And what of them?
I believe the monks encountered these spirits. What occurred specifically is beyond anyone's knowledge but their own. But it is evident that the men were given the ability to transform themselves. Unfortunately, their minds were apparently transformed also. They began to believe they were destined to rule, and since have presented great danger to myself and my family.
So the danger you face is not a result of some decades-old feud?
Not at all, dear king, though history will likely reflect such. But, to answer your question, the members of the Brotherhood are no longer the goodly monks they once were. They do not represent their fellow brethren well.
So, I have until just before sunrise to retrieve this tiara?
That is correct.
And if I am unable to before that time?
The Count's eyes glint red as he looks directly into your own.
For your own sake, I shall hope that you are successful.
You bravely suppress a shudder. It seems clear that you are not off the hook yet. The Countess has nothing more to say to you. There is a leg of ham on the table. You take the ham from the dining table. An entire smorgasbord adorns the tabletop. It sits upon an elegant blood-red tablecloth. You seem to have lost your appetite for eating at the moment. You see a young woman sitting on the dusty floor. She has a book in her lap entitled Little Red Riding Hood.
I wish I could read this story. All the pretty words. Whatever do they say?
The book tells the story of a young girl who met a wolf in the forest.
The young woman's head snaps up. Her black eyes drill into your own. You gasp as you realize you are looking at yet another vampire. Just how many has the Count made tonight? The young woman's lips transform from hungry to, fortunately, pleasant recognition.
So you are the guest of my grandfather's house. I was hoping I would meet you again.
The woman is startlingly beautiful, but in an eerie, unnatural way. You find yourself unable to speak for a moment. She does look somewhat familiar, but from where?
Oh, my handsome gentleman does not recognize me?
Should I?
You remember the basket, the soup?
With a start, you recognize the young woman. She's grown and matured considerably since you last saw her. The little girl, Possum, has been transformed completely into this. She has traded her small ruby cloak for a dazzling satin robe of the same color.
Are you unhappy with my appearance?
No, it's just that you have me at a disadvantage. I do not know your real name.
Anastasia.
A beautiful name.
Yes, 'twas one of the few things my parents left me before they died. They're probably buried somewhere on this island, as a matter of fact. What do you seek here?
You explain your so far unsuccessful attempt to locate the tiara. The young woman looks thoughtful for a moment, then suddenly snaps her fingers. A discarded pile of books shift aside from the floor, and a single black book is revealed underneath. She appraises the black book with indignant incomprehension, then holds it out towards you. You take the book from Anastasia's hand.
I do not suppose that has anything to do with it, but it must be about something important.
How do you feel about what the Count has done to you?
I am not sure. I suppose I should be grateful.
Grateful?
Yes, if he had left me as I was, I would have faced the same danger that claimed the lives of my parents. The murderers hunt my family still. We will not be completely safe until they are gone. At least I now need not fear anything that prowls by night.
True enough. And if you can avoid daylight altogether for the rest of eternity, you will be fine.
You have nothing else to say to Anastasia right now. This black book is entitled Sleepy Hollow. It feels lighter than its size would suggest. You open the book and are surprised to discover not pages, but a hollowed-out section in which sits a silver key. The key's handle resembles the shape of a sleeping child. There also appears to be something written on the back cover of the book. In the hollow, you can see that the inside back cover has been written on. Some words have been scrawled onto the paper. They are faded, but still mostly legible. The writing scrawled on the back cover reads, "If treasure you seek, dear to my heart, tales of fiction is where you must start. Find first the beauty with stepsisters too, then visit the huts that the big bad wolf blew. The girl with no flock will usher your way to the little old man who spins gold out of hay. Those two star-crossed lovers shall be your last guide. They'll lead you to riches that pirates did hide. What you earnestly seek shall now truly be yours, though get it part wrong, and you'll be greeted by Mars." A new book has appeared on the third shelf down. You've located the correct book. You pluck it from the shelf and read its title, Treasure Island. What is this? There seems to be a lock binding the cover shut. The keyhole requires a small, thin key. The key fits perfectly into the lock. You turn it and hear a soft click. The book is now open. Skimming through the book, you find that a map has been sketched onto the last page. Close scrutiny reveals it is a top-down layout of the castle and its surrounding grounds. According to this, the tiara has been buried near one of the graves. You shudder, hoping that this is not going to be a case of digging all night while trying to avoid unearthed zombies. There is also a small piece of writing near the bottom. A date of fate can be found with a first, a second, and a double of nothing. You have no...
I wish only one thing as payment for helping you find that book.
Of course.
Would you be so kind as to take this bracelet and place it on my mother's grave? I believe she wanted me to have it while I was alive. Now, it seems no longer appropriate to keep it. Thank you. I must retire now. It will not be long before sunrise. Good night, Graham.
Good night, Anastasia.